How to master projects when you have remote teams. If you're a coach or consultant who already has a team, or you're thinking about building a project team, here's how you master your projects when it comes to your remote teams. Number one, build a collaborative team environment. Number two, learn how your team members like to learn and communicate. Number three, build standard operating procedures or SOPs in your business. And number four, create job description that includes roles and expectation details in that job description. All right, those are the 4 easy ways that you can build and master projects with your remote teams. Now, if that's all you need to take away from this, go for it, right? But for those of you who are like, Lavelle, I need more than that. I need you to go a little bit deeper. Stick with me. We're going to go deeper into each one of these things, right? All right, hey, if you're new to my space, I'm Lavelle, an online project manager. I help coaches, consultants, and online service providers to go from busy and overwhelmed to brilliant and organized. All right, so we're talking about 4 ways on how to master your projects when you have remote teams. Now, normally I work with clients one-on-one, or I might work with clients who have teams. Several of my clients right now in this moment, they have remote teams. And you might be thinking, well, I'm a coach or consultant. Why do I need to build a team? Well, at some point, you're not going to be the one or want to be the one who does everything in your business. So that's the reason why you want to consider or think about building teams. Now, like I said, I work with some people just one-on-one, and I work with people who have teams. What the size of your team look like is dependent on the type of business that you're trying to build, right? You do not have to have a team of 1 million people. I think my biggest client maybe has like 10 or so more people on their team, but like 5 of them that I interact with on a regular basis, right? So you do not have to build that big of a team if that's not where you're looking to grow. But consider building the team that it is that you need to build the business that you are trying to build. So let's get into those 4 ways on how to create or master projects with your remote teams, right? So number 1 is build a collaborative environment. What does that look like? That looks like using collaborative tools in your business that supports you building that environment. So that's for project management, communication, and connection. That looks like things like Slack or Discord, Asana, Trello, ClickUp when it comes to project management, Microsoft Teams or Google Meets or Zoom when it comes to connections. And you can even find tools that incorporates all of those things. I usually like to stay away from those all-in-one tools because sometimes they're like really great in one area and then the other areas are like, meh. Do whatever works for your business, but just make sure that you are building a collaborative environment and using tools to enhance that. Number 2, learn how your team members like to learn and communicate, right? And you can do it as simply as dropping a Slack poll in your Slack channel and be like, hey, how do y'all like to learn? Or even do it as an opening question for one of your team members. Whatever way you gather that information is up to you. But learn and understand how your team members like to learn and communicate, because everybody does not like to learn and communicate in the same way, right? There are audio learners, visual learners, kinesthetic learners, and then those people who like to read and write or take notes, right? Ask your team members how it is that you like to learn, how it is that you like to communicate, so that you know, like when you're giving them tasks or you're giving them assignments, you're trying as much as you can, because it's not always going to be the case. But as much as you can, you're giving it to them in that way that they like to communicate or receive information, right? It also helps when it comes to the next one, which is number 3, standard operating procedures, right? SOPs or standard operating procedures are things that you create in your business for, especially when you have those processes or those steps that are repeatable or standard every time you do a project, every time you do a campaign, every time you launch something in your business, right? Creating SOPs. I know some people are like, why do I got to create SOPs? Not that many of us, right? But creating SOPs helps things to be streamlined, helps things to be faster. It makes your life and my life easier when you build these SOPs in your business, right? So for example, let's say that you have, you're doing web design, right? Let's say that you're launching like some kind of new retreat or something in your business, right? For one of my clients who does like retreats, couple of retreats every year, one of the things that we have to do every time she does a new retreat is create a new web page. Now, I do not like to create web page. I'm gonna say it right now. Do not hire me to build your web pages, because that's not a thing that I do. But I will like take a template and copy it and, do something new with an existing template. But web design, not for me, right? But what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to the SOP for this one particular client, what we have in our SOPs is, We have 3 standard pages that we use. And if we're doing, for example, a retreat, we're either updating the existing retreat page if it's not current, or if it is current and we're still actively selling to that page, we're going to create a new one. So we're duplicating the one that we already have, creating a new one, updating the copy on that page, updating the pictures on that page, updating the dates and descriptions on the page. That's all in the web design task, right? In addition to that, we also have to update the links on the website so that we're showing this new retreat. We also have to update the links on her link tree so that it's an available option in her link tree. So you hear all of those tasks that have to go with that task every time she's doing a new retreat, right? So when it comes to the web designer, here are the things that are needed to happen every time that we're doing that task. Now, if you have because some people might say, well, I'm a web designer, there are some things that are intellectual to me, this is my expertise, I'm not writing that in your SOPs, because trust me, we have people who are like that sometimes. But here's the thing, when you're creating SOPs, you're not taking anybody's expertise or their brilliance or whatever that special thing is that they do away, and you're not asking them to document that for you either. What you're asking them to do is to document or write down what are those repeated things that we do every time. Because see, nowhere in that SOP that I just listed did I say, oh, we're using DV, right? That's what she has on her website. She uses a DV theme. Nowhere in that description did I say that when I'm talking about the steps. Now, in the details, I might have that this is a theme that she uses for the website, but there's nowhere in there that needs to be, especially if you have somebody who is like, well, I am like the DV boss, and I do all this stuff in DV, and I'm not trying to give away my steps, whatever, right? At the highest level, what I need is, here's what happens every time we do this process. All right, that was a long-winded way of saying that. So let's move on to number 4, right, which is the last one. Number 4, create job descriptions that has the role details and expectations in there. The good thing about that is this also helps me when I'm coming into your company as a coach, as a PM or consultant, is if you have those descriptions in there, it's a lot easier for me to say, okay, this is what the role entails. Here's the SOPs that we need to have that maps back to this role that you're saying that you have in your business, right? It's a lot easier to create SOPs when you have the job description that says, these are the roles, these are what I expect of them to do every time that they come in here, whether that's, creating web pages, I'm still in the web design thinking, right? Creating web pages, updating my homepage, like whatever that looks like. These things are listed in the job description, and it's easy to build SOPs from that. The other reason why you want to make sure that you have the roles and expectations listed is that when you are having people who might not be meeting your expectations, or they're not meeting the things that they should be doing as part of their roles, you both have something to refer back to that says, hey, this is what we said you were signing up for when you signed into this role, right? And this is not what's not being done. 1, 2, and 3 isn't being done, or 1, 2, and 3, you're doing great at it, but maybe 4, you might need some work. If you have that listed in the job description, it's a lot easier for people to meet the roles that they're signing up for and to meet your expectations as a client, okay? So make sure that you are creating those job descriptions and those roles. All right, so that's it. That's how to master your projects when you have remote teams. Build a collaborative environment. Learn how your team members like to learn and communicate. Build SOPs, my favorite, and creating job descriptions that includes the roles and the expectations of that job. All right. Let me know if this has helped you in any way, if you're thinking about or you already have a remote team, and I will see you in the next video.